All right, guys, thank you for coming out today. We are going to set a new piece to whacking, choreographed by Mrs. Goldilocks. A few things to remember: watch your lines, watch your spacing, make sure that you're not marking. Imagine that you're performing to an entire audience tonight. So let's do it. Hey guys, keep running it. I gotta grab this, okay? Hey Sarah, what's going on?
Hey Otto, how are you doing?
Doing great. In the middle of an audition right now. What's going on with you guys?
Me and David are doing great. Coco's no longer chewing on the walls.
That's great to hear.
I have exciting news. We're gonna do a documentary film on ancient cosmology, and we were hoping that you would be a part of it.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. Tell you what, let me think about it and get back to you guys.
We look forward to hearing from you soon, Otto.
Likewise. All right, bye.
Yeah, chat soon. Bye.
Welcome back to the Figuring Things Out episode. We don't know. We are doing a part 2 with Mr. David Weiss, Flat Earth Dave. What's going on?
What's going on, guys? Good to see you back here again. I think I had you thinking after our last podcast.
Yes, you definitely did. There was some things that blew our heads up, and then there were some other things that I felt like, could probably be explained away. But we're back. We're going to talk about some other things that we didn't discuss the first time. I am Bunny Flocks. We got King Arthur in the building. What's going on, bro?
Dave had my hair out last time, right? My shit was frying on camera.
So, Dave, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, well, we can talk about anything you want, but what I want you guys to notice is things fall into 3 baskets. It works on a flat Earth, works on a globe Earth, or works on both. And what you'll find is just the end baskets get filled. The middle basket works only on a globe, never gets anything into it. So there has to be a point somewhere, during your journey where you say, why isn't anything in here? People get lost in the weeds and the stars and everything and trying to figure it out. I say, clear your head, reset, and then look at your world, experience your world and say, well, the horizon's flat, the oceans are laying flat, perspective shows me how the sun goes away. I don't feel like I'm moving. And you'll realize that nothing will ever lead you to thinking you live on a ball except pseudoscience.
We're gonna miss you while you're gone.
I know, baby.
This is the longest you'll ever be away.
I know. It'll be over soon, though. Hopefully not. I love you.
Love you too. Have fun. Be safe.
Okay. Dave.
Otto,
How you doing, man?
All right.
Thanks for meeting up with me.
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
New York.
Thank you. It's a beautiful place, huh? Beautiful weather, right?
Yeah, beautiful weather. Cold and rainy, my favorite.
No, thanks for meeting up with me, though. So New York, man. New York is my former home. Haven't been back here for a few years, and I came back just for this project, just to get up with you and pick your brain about this very interesting topic.
So just hearing about the idea that the Earth might not be a globe?
Correct.
This is a life-changing topic. When people hear about it and look into it, you can never drop it. It's like I always say, it's the one thing that no one ever puts in the closet. Once they see it, every day it affects their life.
I can identify with that.
Amazing.
I can identify that. And just to be flat out, I'm kind of like a skeptic, but in the same token, I'm very open-minded, and I really want to kind of see the other side, because it's so easy to just follow the status quo and fall in line with everybody else believes. And you know, when I was approached about the project, I was like, well, hold on, how do I know that the Earth is round? I've never been in space, right? I'm only going by information that's been passed down to me. So how long you've been a flat earther?
So it was about 2014, 2015, where I was doing a podcast, and people started sending in, hey, Dave, have you looked into flat Earth? And I would just delete them. And I was like, you know, you're banned, you're too stupid. Right. And I wouldn't watch, I refused to watch a 1-minute video.
Yeah.
Dumbest topic ever. But then a good friend of mine.
Why do you think, before you continue, why are people like that?
Well, I always say nobody likes having their ball taken away, because we're still children, and this is a childhood belief that we live on a ball.
Right.
And nobody likes realizing at any point in their life that their whole life has been a lie. It's a hard thing to do. So finally, another researcher I trust very much said, Dave, I think the Earth is flat. And she sent me some videos. I said, okay, I'm just going to debunk this. I went in with a closed mind. I'm going to prove the globe, disprove flat Earth, and be done with this.
Sure.
And so for 2 weeks, I barely slept. I was watching video after video. And I was like, okay, I'm not just going to believe a video. I'm going to go out and do a real world test. And the thing that got me was boats over the horizon. Because that's the number one thing people go to.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. Boats go over the horizon. And I watch these videos, the boat goes over the horizon, and then they take their super zoom camera and they zoom in, and there's the boat again. If we lived on a ball and you were over the physical horizon, no camera, no zoom
should be able to reach it.
Yeah, no possible way. So I went out and I bought a $1,000 camera, tripod set up. I went down to the beach, sat down at the water's edge, and I'm zooming in on things that should be 60, 70, 80 feet below the curve, and there they are. They weren't mirages, it wasn't refraction, and I'm like, I could see people sitting on a beach where I shouldn't be able to see the beach at all.
So I know you probably get this question a lot. So if the Earth is flat, why isn't the water just pouring off the corners?
Right, so when you Google flat Earth, you get a picture of a disk floating in space. Well, that's two false things there. You got the false heliocentric space, and that we're a disk floating there. We're not a disk, we're like a pond, right? Think about this, when it rains like today, where does the water go? It settles in the lowest spot. A pond is like a bigger puddle, a lake is a bigger pond. The world oceans are a giant pond. They want us to believe Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of a ball, but in reality, Antarctica is the shoreline of our world. That makes sense.
And why do you think they prohibit people to go and do their own investigations?
Because the truth is, if all humans knew that we're at the center of creation, that we have God-given rights, that there is more technology and more resources than they want us to know about, well, then they wouldn't be able to control us.
Dr. Young.
Hello, Otto.
Pleasure to meet you, sir. How are you, man?
Same as here, I'm good.
That's great, man. Finally get to meet you after all this correspondence.
Same here as well.
Yeah, so let's sit down,
Sit down and have a chat.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from and what do you do as a career?
Yeah, so I'm from Nigeria. Back while I was in Nigeria, I worked at Nigeria Space Agency. Nigeria does have a space agency.
Cool.
We do all kinds of stuff from space development, research. We also do space education. I
awesome.
came here to the United States to complete a doctoral degree in computer science. I completed that several years ago, and I currently teach at this university. Yeah, that's what I do.
This might be a silly question, but is asked a lot. Why don't we fall over the edge of said flat Earth?
Okay, so that question assumes that there's actually an edge from which to fall off.
Right, right.
So the assumption itself is wrong. So it's like a lake or a pond. It has an edge, but it's not an edge that you can fall off from.
Sure.
There's land masses built up around the edge, holding the water in. That's pretty much how the flat Earth is. This is one of the classes that I teach in.
All right.
There's two other classes. I teach in 3 classes. You want to have a seat?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, how did a doctor of computer science become a flat earther?
The person that first told me about the flat Earth, this is like maybe 5 years ago. And I laughed at this person. I thought it was really dumb and a stupid thing. I mean, I've worked at a space agency, right? I've been a space enthusiast. I'm like many people who wanted to be astronauts as kids.
Right.
We dreamed about that. That was our goal. And I thought I knew all the pieces of evidence that Earth is round. And I went through those pieces of evidence one by one. But when I started watching flat Earth documentaries and videos, these pieces of evidence got debunked one after the other. Pilots don't fly around great circles. The aerial photos of Earth, they aren't actually photos. They're computer-generated images wrapped around a ball. I mean, NASA admits this. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a fact. I have reduced the pieces of evidence that I need to just 3. Because once you provide those 3, it doesn't matter how much more you provide. So where's the evidence for the curve? Where's the evidence for the rotation? And then where's the evidence for the revolution around the sun? The science community, the physics professional community does not have evidence for any of this. Good example of evidence for a curve would be a ship like going out and then you not being able to bring it back using a telephoto lens or a pair of binoculars.
Right.
If they stay in view, it means they didn't go around a curve.
Right.
If they stay in view, it means we're on a flat plane.
Right.
And we're talking about tens of miles away. If you're standing on the shore and you're 6 feet tall, you shouldn't see anything 3 miles away.
Yeah, 3 miles away.
3 miles away is your horizon.
Jay?
Hey, Otto.
How are you,
doing,
brother?
man? Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Finally meet you. I saw the camera. I was like, that's Jay right there.
There's the camera, man.
Gorgeous day.
Yeah, look at that, man.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
You can see pretty far even without infrared. Huh?
Yeah, like if you look right there, you can see Santa Monica.
How far is that?
That's about 20 miles or so, if I remember correctly. Then beyond that, you can see San Jacinto, 123 miles away. So it's another 100 miles, and only in infrared you can see that, you know?
That's far.
Yeah, that's pretty far.
How can I wrap my brain around the fact that we've been lied to? It's one of those truths that you don't question every day.
That's right, yeah.
You don't wake up and say, are we really on round Earth?
My kid, for example, in kindergarten, he comes home with an inflatable globe.
Of course.
You know, and I was like, oh my God, they're telling them where they're at from a young age.
Of course. The latest update on my iPhone had a wallpaper that's a huge globe, you know. So it's everywhere. Everywhere you look, it's the heliocentric models and movies. And so it's one of those things that people don't question until they do.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, Matt? It's a pleasure to finally meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you, dude.
Yeah, man. Thank you for meeting me out here in beautiful, cold Chattanooga.
Yeah.
So tell me about yourself, Matt.
So I would say I'm a servant of the Most High first. Husband. Haven't had the adventure of having kids yet. So
Same.
but my sister has 4, so
Same.
sometimes they come over for the weekend, so that's fun. I have an online ministry called Back to the Covenant, and I'm a self-published author, so I wrote 4 books.
When I had the opportunity to come and interview you guys, I jumped at it because there's so many things that, as I do my own research, things don't jive.
Yep.
And you are a flat earther.
Guilty as charged.
So how'd you become a flat earther? How'd you come to this theory?
So I have a friend and a brother in the faith. He would send me messages like, did you know that NASA lost the technology to go to the moon? I'm like, man, I don't want to hear all that. And I had another brother and friend, and then he said, it might not be a salvational issue, but if it brings an atheist into faith of the Creator and believing in the scriptures, then it's salvational. And then that was my aha moment.
So why all the lies?
Have you ever seen those pictures of like the universe, the cosmos, and the little arrow says, you're here, and the little skinny dot? So I think with the globe model, they're trying to hide the Creator, so that's a big reason. Number 2 is money. So there's a well-known space agency in America, and if you look up online, their annual budget for 2022 specifically, it's a little over 24 billion. So that's about 2 billion a month. So that's a lot of money.
So if I sum this up correctly, you feel that mainstream science is essentially on a perpetual mission to discredit God?
Oh yeah, definitely. You have evolution, the Big Bang Theory, and the heliocentric globe model. They're all intimately connected. You can't have one without the other. It sounds kind of funny, but it's like a peanut butter jelly sandwich. You have all the ingredients together, but if you test them and you reject one, the house of cards falls down.
You just got a peanut butter sandwich at that point.
Yep.
I got you. So this is it, huh?
Yeah, this is it.
So Jay, tell me a little bit about this camera and how it pertains to your experiment.
Yeah, so I'm using this camera to see in infrared, believe it or not. And if you look at the lens, right, you see that it's black. I put a infrared filter on there. It's blocking visible light, but lets infrared through. So these cameras, when you put it on a night shot mode, it removes an infrared blocking filter from inside the sensor.
Okay, I'm following you.
You may be asking, like, why are we doing that? Well, the longer the wavelength, the farther you can see. Imagine Mount San Jacinto is 123 miles away, and you can actually see it in infrared. But invisible, even on the clearest day, it just looks like blue haze behind Santa Monica.
Okay.
See how all the vegetation comes out white?
Yep.
Because it's putting out infrared, man. Yeah, I can zoom in the distance and see Mount San Jacinto in there.
Wow.
If there's snow on mountains, right, and the sun is shining, there's no cloud cover, then it gets a lot of infrared illumination, and then the contrast is really good, so then you can see it.
It's an easy experiment I think someone could replicate without breaking the bank.
Yep.
What's one of the most easiest things you can do to prove your theory?
So there's a lot of simple, easy, inexpensive experiments, but one you can do is you can buy a bottle like this. And so what you do is, when you first open it, you got to listen for the, do you hear that?
Yep.
Slight psst. So what that is, that's the second law of thermodynamics in action.
Section. Mastering cheese? No, that's not it. Okay, here we go. We got a couple books here. The Universe. All right, let's see this one right here. So it looks like we don't have a book on thermodynamics here.
Maybe we could look it up online. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that works.
All right, so according to this site. The second law may be formulated by the observation that the entropy of isolated systems left to spontaneous evolution cannot decrease, as they always arrive at a state of thermodynamic equilibrium.
Okay, for us laymen, can you put that in layman's terms?
Yeah, so basically, when you have high pressure going to low pressure, it's seeking equilibrium. So when you like, psst, with the soda can, that pressure in the can is releasing, so it's going from high pressure to low pressure, and it's equalizing, basically. It's finding a balance.
So how does that apply to Earth?
So we live in a pressurized system, and mainstream science tells us that we're next to a near perfect vacuum, which they label as space, without a container. A key ingredient to second law of thermodynamics is there's a container to hold the gas pressure in. So if you look at it from a scriptural standpoint, in Genesis 1:6 through 8, the word rakia is translated as dome or firmament. It's like a solid structure above Earth, and it holds the gas pressure in our atmosphere.
What do you think that firmament is? What is it made out of?
The book of Job in chapter 37 talks about it describes it in the King James Version, which is the most popular English translation. It describes it as a molten looking glass, so it could be made out of glass.
So essentially it's like a snow globe.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Just for a visual.
Yeah.
It's like the roof over our house, basically.
So Professor, from your educated point of view, would you agree that gravity is what holds back Earth's gas pressure?
What is even gravity? The scientific community doesn't have a final answer to what that is. They will tell you it's a Newtonian gravity. On the other hand, they will tell you it's Einsteinian space-time curvature. So they're not sure what it is. Regardless, you would require a container to create gas pressure. And so it stands as a very blatant contradiction of the definition of gas pressure to say that there's atmospheric pressure without a container.
Right. The whole premise of the scientific process is for scientists and peers to review each other's hypotheses and test it or refute the hypothesis. So why don't you think that they don't extend the same curiosity to this concept of flat Earth?
I think it is indoctrination mainly. It is, we think we have settled this question and it is pointless to ask. When you accept a claim as true without scientific evidence, that becomes religion, that becomes folklore, that becomes myth.
I agree.
The scientists holding on to this belief without evidence might not realize that that's what's happening, but that's in fact what's happening by definition.
A lot of people talk about how the sun sets, right? And the sun is a celestial object, and in between the terrestrial objects, us, is the cloud, the atmospheric layer. So when you look up on a cumulus cloud day, you have all of these spotted clouds, but you can see the blue sky, right?
Right.
As you look into the distance, those clouds get lower and lower, and they get tighter and tighter, just like this fence. You can see through this fence, no problem. Fence barely blocks your view, but as you look down, the fence just becomes opaque, just like the clouds become opaque. And something above it would just go away and it disappears behind it. Because the biggest thing people say is, well, I saw the sun set from the bottom up. But on a clear, dry day, you can watch the sun shrink to a little tiny dot and it's not going down. You know, imagine an airplane just flying away, and as it goes over that building, it's going to disappear from the bottom up. If the airplane was a big ball, right, the ball would disappear from the bottom up. Now let's push that building 20 miles into the distance. The top of that building will be it'll look like it's at our eye level. The airplane will be above it, but it'll look lower in the sky. It looks like it's going down, and then it disappears behind things that are much higher than our eye, but they appear at eye level, because that's how our eyes work. So things just go beyond where we can see.
Orion's belt lines up with the pyramids of Giza. You would not expect that to be the case, right?
Science tells us that the universe has been expanding since the Big Bang.
You got to factor in the speeds that they say these things are moving at, right? Human observers have observed this for thousands of years, right? And there's no way that the various motions that the Earth and the solar system are in would allow for that to be the case, right? We would see radically different constellations.
Yeah, so then Stonehenge wouldn't line up, pyramids wouldn't line up, Mayan pyramids wouldn't line up.
The Georgia Guidestones also has, well, had, now it's destroyed, had lined up with the North Star.
So in your educated guess, what do you think stars are?
There's something I think they're not. They're not burning balls of gas. There's a phenomenon that we can replicate here on Earth, sonoluminescence, meaning you can actually use sound frequencies to create lights in water. That might be what they are.
I think one of the hardest parts of accepting this theory is, you know, humans don't hold secrets very good. You know, someone must have dropped the proof of this at some point.
There's something called compartmentalization, right? Where only people at the top would know the whole thing. The engineers beneath, they're just building a rocket. Yeah, they're building a rocket. They're just building a heat shield. They're just working on tiny pieces of the whole piece. Only the project managers at the top would know what's really up.
I think most people are like me. We grew up being told about the heliocentric model.
Yep.
We really never had a reason to question it until things stop adding up.
Yep.
And you start questioning, not only is the science incorrect, but why are we being fed this information?
Yep.
And so why do you think they're lying to us by giving us this improper data about the curvature of the Earth?
In my line of work, I've seen some interesting maps in classified meaning. I met a lot of people, I had clearances and stuff. Most people don't know about the flat Earth. They're just operating based on what they were taught in school. And what's taught in school is a globe model.
Correct.
Right? They don't even say that, oh, way back when people used to believe that the Earth is flat. No. I think only at the very top, like astronauts and maybe some scientists that work for NASA and analyze data or imagery, they have to know. Down below that level, most people are clueless. I mean, I work with very smart people, and when I brought up the topic of the flat Earth, they're like, what? And I said, look at your imagery. You're flying a freaking infrared pod on your aircraft, you know? There was a guy in England, a professor that fell from grace because he started questioning Newton's law theories. Yeah. And so, yeah, if you do that, boom, you're not going to make it in the academic circle. So there's a filter that rejects peripheral knowledge, and science is supposed to march forward, and people are supposed to be open-minded. And we have better sensors, better camera. And so when new data comes in, you're supposed to reevaluate what you're saying. So unfortunately, we're relying on the foundation they've laid down, but they should be laying their foundation based on the data we have now.
Correct.
You know? And we could do that now, but it's not happening. You're being ridiculed. You try to publish a paper, they're like, what, flat Earth?
But you get ridiculed by being open-minded. I've even come across people that won't even question it because they feel science is their God, and what science says is infallible. And so that's essentially one of the hard parts of presenting any new data is the people don't want the data. Science doesn't want the data. The only truth that I'm sure that I know is I know nothing. That's the only truth that I'm aware of. So, my brother, it was amazing meeting you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for taking your time to chop it up with me. I love the information you passed on. Thanks for sharing that with me.
It was a pleasure.
Okay, man.
Nice to meet you, man.
I used to have my own business. I was in a commercial power solar development company. And when I was researching all of this flat Earth stuff, I realized this is a really important topic. And I had created an app so I could show people how it really worked.
Nice.
And I decided to walk away from everything I worked my entire life to do. Crazy. And I show people the app. So
Yeah, pull it up.
the app shows you how the flat Earth works. wherever the sun is noon. So it keeps track of the hours and the days. You see that it's catching up to the moon. It laps the moon every 28 days. Also, I have the frequently asked questions page because all the questions are basically the same. You know, where does the sun go? How about ships over the horizon? What about seasons? What about eclipses?
What about the eclipses? Because that's one of the arguments I've always come across.
Yeah, the idea that the Earth can cast a shadow on the moon 250,000 miles away. Try to get a basketball on a sunny day, and or just a spotlight on it, and move it 20 feet away from a wall. The shadow just disappears.
Right.
So, and if you cast a shadow of a sphere onto another sphere, it comes in as an ellipse, and then it spreads out, and then it leaves as an ellipse. So what is shadowing the moon? I don't claim to know, but we can prove that it's not the Earth. One, because of the distance, and two, because there's a thing called the Selenian eclipse, where the observer can see the sun and the moon both above the horizon. Well, the Earth is supposed to be in between. Right. And not only that, the shadow, the darkening of the moon comes in from the wrong side. So what that proves right there is it's not the Earth.
What's your views on satellites? Do they exist?
Did you know that NASA controls all the helium companies in the world?
No.
Right? And NASA has a balloon program where they're launching tens of thousands of satellites hanging from balloons. You've heard of a geostationary satellite. So we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So you have a satellite that has to match that spin.
Correct.
We're orbiting the sun, speeding up and slowing down at 66,000 miles an hour. So it's got to match the spin and match that, and we're chasing the sun at about 500,000 miles per hour. So it's got to match that to stay over the world, or perhaps the Earth is stationary, level plane, and it's just floating up there. Okay. I came up with a featured video. Every day there's a featured video.
And what's this app called?
It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. I created a friend finder on here. It'll show you all of the other people that have the app in your area that have actually registered. And you can tap on a dot and send that person a message. And all of those dots on here are awake, aware people. So it's an amazing resource for finding companionship, friends, setting up meetups, or even jobs. People are hiring people on here. We'll have 2 falafel gyros, please. You try it now. I came here for New Year's Eve once, and it was the craziest thing ever. Yeah. We tried to get as close to the ball as we could, and then we couldn't get out.
Yeah,
we're packed in so tight.
Oh yeah.
And then finally we jumped out into the street, and the cops chased us on horseback all the way back to Grand Central Station. And we left the city, and that was an interesting time. Never do it again.
Hey, Shelly.
Hey, Otto. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful. How was your flight?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I'm here. I'm having lunch already.
Nice. I'm excited to finally meet you tomorrow at the gun range.
Me too. Me too. Me too. Can't wait.
Definitely. It should be so much fun.
So I'll see you at the gun range.
Let's see who can hit the target, right?
Alrighty.
Enjoy the rest of your afternoon in LA.
Thank you. See you soon. Shelley.
Hey, Otto.
How are
Hi.
you? Great
How was your
seeing
trip?
you. Finally meet you.
Definitely.
How are you doing, Otto? It's a
Nice to
pleasure.
meet you.
He's the weapons expert.
I'm not the expert, okay? I just prepared if needed.
Very nice.
45 auto, 38 revolver, and a mini M13 or 14.
Well, that was good. A little bit to the right. A little high. Oh, yeah. That was perfect.
Mark.
Hey, Otto.
How you doing, bro? It's a pleasure meeting
Nice
you.
to meet you.
It's great to finally meet you in person.
Awesome.
Let's have a little seat here.
Yeah.
So tell me about this beautiful part of the world.
So you are on a beach named Mukilteo.
Mukilteo?
Yeah, Mukilteo. It's named after a Native American group, like a lot of things here, including Seattle. Across there, a little bit of the Pacific Ocean, is an island called Whidbey, named after Captain Whidbey, who was a British explorer.
Wow, okay.
And that is where I grew up and spent a big part of my life.
On the drive here, I did notice a lot of Native American carvings and tributes to the people of this land, and I found it really interesting.
They are a big part of the community. Lots of names, lots of totem poles, lots of culture, and a few casinos.
Oh, right. Yeah, gotta have the casinos,
Yep.
right? How did you arrive to the flat Earth theory?
I got into it through sheer conspiracy boredom. Believe it or not, conspiracy boredom. I thought I had seen it all and done it all. I never got married or had kids, so I had a lot of free time on my hands.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, I'm not getting any younger, so I might as well tick this off my bucket list.
Yeah.
And thought I'd look at flat Earth,
Yeah.
and boy, did that turn into a roller coaster ride. So why don't we head down to the pier and catch a boat?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Shipboard emergency. Signals will be sounded from the ship's general alarm, followed by the same signals from the ship's whistle.
This is just part of Puget Sound, which is technically the Pacific Ocean. This is where the Pacific Ocean meets the northwest corner of the United States.
So out of curiosity, the Nat Geo episode where they proved or tried to prove the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I was there. I was one of the few people that was there live on the water at the Salton Sea in Southern California. And it was an illusion from minute one. And the original experiment, which never aired, was them raising balloons on the other side of the beach, 9 miles away. We could see them with our cameras. The whole point of the experiment was they were going to raise the balloons until they could see them. It's like, no, you don't have to raise the balloons at all. We can see them right there at sea level, at Salton level.
Right. Wow.
And it was fantastic. Not blaming the production team. They sent all the footage to New York, but New York said, nope, we're not going to use it. We're going to use our backup footage, which is the raft in the middle of the water, which was, in fact, when you watch the segment, it's like, it doesn't say how far the raft is. It doesn't say how high, what the stripes represent. It's like, no, we're just going to rapid fire it really, really fast. And then hopefully people forget this.
Yeah. And they have. Actually.
And they have.
Yeah.
And they have. Brilliant. The mainstream media has done a fantastic job of covering this thing up.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Today, with the closed system challenge, we're all going to be using the miraculous properties of photosynthesis and cellular respiration to create a closed system that functions perfectly as is. We're going to be learning about how to make a closed system and make it function properly, because the closed system challenge we're going to be doing will require you to have a self-sustaining ecosystem in a pond.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? What are you doing right this second?
I'm actually out of town right now, in the middle of shooting a documentary.
Oh, that's cool. What's it about?
Ancient Cosmology. Ever heard of Flat Earth?
Like the Flat Earth Society? Yeah, I've heard about it.
Flat Earth Society is a joke. I'll explain more when I get back.
Okay, that's cool. I was kind of hoping we'd hang out tonight, shoot a little pool, but that's fine. No worries.
We can link up when we get back.
Cool. Yeah, we can do that. Where are you shooting at now? Where's your location?
Georgia. I'm about to meet with the teacher right now.
Cool. Well, yeah, man, just hit me up when you get back.
Absolutely, my brother. Talk to you soon. I guess I'm a self-proclaimed truther. And even if the truth goes against everything I've always been taught to believe, I'm open to accept it.
Wow. So what was your moment that made you decide to become a truther and sort of question everything?
Hey, guys.
Oh, there's two of you, huh?
Yeah, 1.5.
Yeah, no, he's just a little upset that he's the reason that cloning is illegal.
Yeah. Well, no, he's just upset that I was planned and he wasn't. Yeah, true. It's a hard time with that.
So who's the clone again?
I was 7 minutes older, so I was here first.
He's copy and I'm paste. Me and Amber, we met back when I was 9, she was 10.
Oh,
she was my first girlfriend.
Wow. Oh, that's great.
So you're married?
Yes, almost 10 years now. We met on a cruise ship. I was a dancer on board.
Well, what kind of dancing are we talking about here?
Just not that kind of dancing.
Oh, sure, okay.
You're gonna have to prove it, because I don't know if I believe it. You really, like, I need to see some proof. We're truthers here. We're trying to get to the bottom of this.
So I'm just gonna show you one move, and then hopefully with that, you'll see a little bit of, you know, the magic.
We're skeptics too.
Right, here you go.
Oh. That's it. We're sold. It's true. He's
just
real.
a little bit.
I can't have done that.
So, tell me a little bit about yourselves.
We're both teachers now. We were wrestlers. We're coaches.
It's crazy because we worked so hard to get educated. We went on to get our master's degrees, and you feel like you're so wise. We feel like there's this wisdom of the world that we're gaining, and we want to teach it to everybody. And it's innocent when you're doing this, but there's a verse in the Bible that says that the wisdom of this world is foolishness to our Father. And not that teachers are bad, teachers are good people, but we've just received this wisdom for so long.
How did you guys become flat earthers?
I was in my early 30s, and I had literally been at a moment where I felt like I was asleep spiritually, and I wanted to wake up. And I remember saying, Father, just wake me up. And it took some miracles happening, 2 in a row. And once the second one happened, I remember I was outside and I was praying, and I'm like, I know you're real, I know you're listening to me. I said, I don't care how crazy it sounds, I want you to show me the truth about creation. And so that's exactly what he did.
At first, I was kind of laughing about it, and he was like, no, trust me. And I thought, this is the dumbest thing. And in my mind, I was imagining the boat going over. And I was just imagining some hippie being like, dude, it's flat. And I'm thinking, where are you getting this information? And when he finally started showing me the proofs, I was like, wow. And especially when it took it to the Bible, I was like, the Bible doesn't say that. And then I read it, and I was like, it does.
Thank you for your assistance at the gun range. That was lots of fun.
That was a blast. I had so much fun. So you were a pretty good shooter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been a while.
That's amazing. I mean, you just picked it right up. I was like, wow.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm not military status like you, but...
I'm pretty green around the edges, let me tell you. How do you like California?
I love California. It's almost like a second home.
Yeah.
My sister lives here, so I try to visit as much as I can.
Oh, that's nice.
And I just love the scenery. I love the people. I love the diversity of landscape.
Oh, I know. It's amazing. So you're in the music industry?
Yeah, so I'm artistic curator of one of the biggest festivals in the Southeast regions called Leaf. And it's a world festival, world music.
Okay.
And kind of a talent scout. I'm always out looking for talent.
Want to get coffee?
Yeah, let's grab some coffee. There's a viewfinder here.
You know what? I saw Catalina Island out there, and I was wondering how far that is.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, let's see.
Wow, it looks so close. How far do you think that is?
I really wonder. Where I live in Dana Point, from my beach, Salt Creek Beach, it's 40 miles away. I don't know how far it is from here. I'd have to go look and find out and let you know, but from my beach it's called Salt Creek Beach in Dana Point, I can actually see San Clemente Island, which is 60 miles away. We've always been told that a sailboat goes over the curvature of the Earth, which is why you can't see it anymore. But now it's crazy. Like you said, with technology, we can pull up our P900 and we can zoom it way back into view.
So a lot of Christians believe in the heliocentric model.
That is true.
So what do you respond to that?
They point to two scriptures, Job 26:7 and Isaiah 40:22. So if you look up Job 26:7, the last part of it says, and he hangs the earth on nothing. So if you look that word nothing up in the Hebrew, that's the only verse in the Old Testament that has that verse. So it's a challenge because you're limited on what you can
compare,
cross-reference on different texts and read context in different places. So that's a tough one. Something else that's interesting about the Job passages, it says it hangs on nothing, but if you look in other verses, it says it has firm foundations, it sits on pillars. And then in Isaiah 40:22, it says, it is he who sits on the circle of the earth. People say, ooh, see, it's that circle. That's a globe. Nah, hold on, hot rod, pump the brakes. So if you look that verse up, the circle word is translated in 3 verses. One in Isaiah, a circle, another one in, I believe it's in Job, as circuit, kind of like the sun runs a circuit every day above us. And the other one is compass. If you look at all 3 of those and read the context, I don't know how you could arrive at the earth is shaped like a sphere.
Yeah.
In Isaiah 22, he uses the word ball specifically. And so something else that's interesting about that Isaiah 40:22 passage, the end of it talks about he built a tent to dwell in. So if you imagine a tent, it's got stakes in the ground. Do you think of a ball earth or a globe?
So you basically feel it's taken out of context, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If you're going to do research and read scripture, context is very important.
Where in the Bible does it prove your theory?
It's good to go to the beginning. So if you look at the creation story in Genesis 1, on day 2, the firmament is created. And then day 4, the luminaries are placed inside that firmament. It's the sun, moon, stars. And so mainstream science tells us that the earth is orbiting around the sun at crazy speeds. But according to scripture, in Genesis 1, days 1 through 3, there is no sun. So what exactly is it spinning around? So Houston, we have a problem. And the one that did it for me is New Jerusalem. Revelation 21 talks about New Jerusalem comes down. So let's compare and contrast. So you have the globe model spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. New Jerusalem comes down. It's going to have good aim as opposed to a flat, motionless earth. Boom. Which one makes more sense?
Right. So how do you know that there's a creator?
As a child and a teenager, I had scoliosis. Your spine has a natural curvature, and mine was really messed up. The curve was way off, caused a lot of pain. So I was going to a Friday night meeting at the church I was attending at the time and asked for healing for that scoliosis. And I felt an intense heat go down my entire back. I was miraculously healed of that scoliosis in that moment. Wow. That's why I believe there's a creator, because I've experienced miraculous healing.
Amazing. Many Christians do believe in the heliocentric model. What would you say to those Christians?
You know, look at your Bible. What does it say? The Bible is a geocentric book from start to finish. You have the earth being on foundations. You have the firmament above the earth that separates the water above from the waters below. In the book of Joshua, he told the sun to stand still in the sky. And you know, when you think about the heliocentric model, you can't tell the sun to stop because it's the center and we're moving around it. You'd be telling the earth to stop.
Right.
In the book of Revelation, the stars will fall from the sky to the earth like figs from a tree.
Yeah.
That can't happen. The sky can't tear away like a scroll.
When the Messiah returns, every eye is going to see him. And we used to try to rationalize that with our understanding of technology, like we're all going to have cell phones and we're going to see it that way. But no, it says every eye is going to see him. Not a reflected image of him, not a broadcasted image. Every eye is going to see, because we're on this flat, immovable world, and there's so many verses, like 200 verses that speak of that.
The sun in the book of Psalms, it says it makes its circuit like a runner on a course. The sun was moving. For that to even make any sense, you'd have to understand the Hebrew cosmology, or every ancient cosmology. Why are we not taught what the ancients believed? Why do we only see this image of a boat going over the edge of some water? Nobody thought that. Biblical accounts weren't like that. No account was like that.
Yeah.
The Egyptians, the Greek, the Mayans, they all believed this solid expanse of the sky. The earth was immovable, just like it is in the biblical text.
Christopher Columbus was one of the first ones I was told that he was this brave explorer that knew it was a globe.
Right.
But when he was getting funding, he actually quoted the fourth book of Ezra, or two Esdras, as it was listed in the King James Bible a long time ago. He quoted that book to get funding. That book talks about more land, and it talks about the firmament being founded on the waters. So he knew you can only go so far before you hit the firmament. It's really interesting that he was quoting that, and I was never told ever in my life, not in church, not in school, that the ancients believed in a firmament. And you go back and look at all their depictions, and that's all you see is this solid firmament structure. And the Bible also tells you to prove all things. And so when you start trying to prove that it's moving, you start finding weird things that have happened. Like the first time they put the pendulum down at the South Pole, it went the wrong direction. What is it? Orion's belt lines up with the same pyramids that it did thousands of years ago. Look at the stars every night for 6 months. You should be on the other side of the sun looking at different stars. Just see if that happens.
When we see these lights in the heavens, they got us to believe we're one of those. You know, you see that, that's a planet and you're one of those. We're special. Those are just lights in the sky. And just like the lights in our house, we don't base the shape of the house on those.
Doesn't Job 26:7 and Isaiah 44:22 basically state that the earth is round?
It seems to, and for years I thought it did. When I was making the Bible fit my worldview and throwing in things to make it match up, I believed that it did. When I heard circle of the earth, I thought, okay, that's a ball.
Right.
I didn't realize that later on in that same book you could read and they talk about a ball.
God sits above the circle of the earth. He literally sits above the circle of the earth, not a sphere.
Right.
No. Yeah, it's a footstool, not a roller coaster.
Right.
That's what my dad says. Yeah. His feet would be on this roller coaster. He'd be going in all these different directions, and that's just the chaos. Our Father's above us. I mean, he's close, so close to us, and that's what makes us special to him. He's got us right there where he can see us. He's not light years away.
When I was a little girl, I went to space camp. I guess I was 12. And I met Alan B. Shepard, and I knew from that day, like, I was gonna be the first woman to walk the moon.
Wow.
So, yeah. Do you want to sit down?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
sit down. Yeah. That's a nice view. So you were saying you went to space camp.
Yeah, and so Buzz Aldrin, one of the people who supposedly walked the moon,
Right.
he went to West Point. And so I knew
Right.
like that was gonna be my plan. Fast forward, I ended up getting a medical discharge, and so like my whole life was kind of like turned upside down. I never had a chance to go through the space program. And my husband, back in 2010, told me that he watched this documentary about a funny thing happened on the way to the moon, and he started telling me about these fake moon landings. Those were fighting words to me. I thought, how could you talk about this? I wanted to be an astronaut. You know, these were my heroes.
Right.
We have all this evidence. We went to the moon. We have pictures. Come on. It was on TV, right? And then fast forward, a really good friend of mine, and he was a pilot, brilliant guy. And he started talking about this flat earth stuff. And I was just like, okay, I want to hear him out. I really want to hear him out because I respected him a lot. I didn't want to just kind of like, you know, attack him.
Sure.
But I ended up attacking him a little bit. I was just like, okay, you know, this is nuts. And he started telling me all these proofs, like how a plane doesn't dip its nose, you know. It should be, after a certain distance, you know, the plane should dip its nose down, but then the gyroscope never registers that. So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. And then he started talking about the Bible and how in the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth, he created the sun, moon, and stars inside a firmament. So my background in space was like, oh, that's interesting because we're not taught that.
Right.
And it just really hit me one day when I was going through the Bible and I started thinking about all these proofs that my friends started talking about with him being a pilot. And it was like the Lord just basically said, who are you going to believe?
So Mark, tell me about yourself and how did you arrive at this theory?
I got into the flat earth theory about 8 years ago when I was bored with everything that was conspiracies. Turned out to be a huge rabbit hole, and that weekend turned into weeks, which turned into months, which turned into February of 2015, where I just gave up and made a series of videos, put them on YouTube, and called them the Flat Earth Clues. And they were basically a cry for help, more than anything. I can't prove the globe in a court of law anymore. You should be able to figure this out. By the way, I included all my contact information. And the academics didn't call me up and say, okay, here's how you screwed up. I had people from all walks of life that were calling me up. You know, all branches of the armed forces, air traffic controllers, engineers, you name it. They were all calling me saying, you know what, it's not that crazy. Here's why.
What general shape do you believe the Earth is?
I'm glad you asked that. The general shape is something like this.
Cool.
Yeah. And all it really is the UN flag with walls and a floor and a ceiling. The North Pole's in the center, and Antarctica is not an island continent that looks like a snowy version of Australia. It is spread around the outer rim. But everything in here works better, works more efficiently than it would on the globe.
The firmament, what do you think this is made out of?
It's dealer's choice for me. You know, is it a heavy metal, a heavy element, a heavy water, an electromagnetic field, a unified field? Whatever it is, it's strong enough to stop atomic weapons. So, and we tried for 4 years to do it, the United States and the Soviet Union. So whatever it is, we're not getting through it.
Wow. One of the hardest things for me to wrap my head around, the fact that so many people in so many countries have gone on and furthered this lie, right? So why the lies?
The big three reasons are academically, every university in the world would have to rewrite most of their libraries. Economically, the shock waves that it would send through the world markets, you'd have to suspend world markets for months until you figured out what it meant and how things were going to settle. But the biggest thing of all is the religious aspect, believe it or not, which is the 5 major religious houses of this world, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, and Christianity. You're giving those 5 major religious houses leverage against science simultaneously. And you're asking those groups to show restraint, even though science has been beating them over the head with textbooks for the last 5 centuries. That's never ever going to happen. Not only that, but the questions would never stop. Okay, so you were wrong about this. And this is kind of a big thing. What else are you wrong about? Oh, I don't know, the Big Bang Theory, evolution, carbon dating, dark matter, all that fun stuff. So do I blame the powers that be for keeping this thing a secret? No, not at all. That's what I would do.
Has this belief put a damper on your personal relationships?
Belief is the enemy of knowing. Crow 777 Radio coined that phrase. And because you can believe anything, but knowing takes time, effort, and thought. And yeah, nobody wakes up and says, I want to be a flat earther. I want to alienate my family and my friends and be mocked and ridiculed.
Right.
Back in 2014, when you can find all the information, you mention it to anybody, they ridicule you.
Yeah.
Okay, now at least people are like, that's interesting. You know, and just like you are, you're asking questions. So yeah, my sister and my brother, we don't talk because they're not ready for this information. And I've lost some very close friends. But again, I have a whole new incredible family of awake, aware people. And eventually, one day, hopefully my brother and sister and my old friends will see the light.
Why do you think people are so closed to the truth?
Because our entire life we've been programmed before we can talk that we live on a ball. Your parents probably put a mobile of the planets over your crib, and then you sit down in front of Sesame Street and Disney, and they have astronauts on there, and the first worksheet you bring home from school is about the orbits of the sun and the moon and the planets. They control us by putting our minds in that heliocentric prison, that matrix.
From your military background, doesn't the Coriolis effect disprove flat Earth?
I can say this, when I was in the military and I shot all types of weapons, from M16 all the way to tanks at Fort Knox, they say there's this Coriolis effect, that when you shoot a firearm, you have to calculate this formula for the spin of the Earth. So at the equator, it's spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. In like California, where we are right now, it's supposedly spinning about 750 miles per hour. And it would depend on where you are in a combat situation that you'd have to calculate this formula. And I'll tell you, we never, ever once applied.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how has this affected your personal life?
There's a lot of ridicule that comes with being a flat earther, and people just don't even want to hear you out. They call you stupid, and I think it's hard on my kids because, you know, they're hearing that I'm this flat earther and I'm outspoken about it. I definitely don't hide that fact.
I commend you for that.
Thank you.
You believe in the truth and you stand for it regardless of ridicule, and that's honorable.
You know, we really want to share what this means to us and our truth, and I just really appreciate your willingness to hear us out. That Ferris wheel looks trippy.
It is very trippy.
I would love to see how tall that is actually.
I would guesstimate about 80 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. On a more personal note, how has this belief affected your day-to-day relationships with family, friends?
Well, it's had good and bad. I mean, we've made thousands of connections and friends that we would have never had, but there has been some pushback at our job. You know, we've gotten in trouble for our beliefs, and we've been ridiculed by good friends.
Yeah.
And it has caused some division, but usually it brings people closer to God in our experience.
Yeah, it definitely humbles you, and that's the thing. When you get with people who have experienced this, they are just so humble. They come to you and they're like, finally, here's someone who's become a fool to this world just like me, because you lose that wisdom of this world. And like it says, the wisdom of this world is foolishness to our Father. When you gain the Father's wisdom, you're going to look foolish. The world is going to put out all those false images and things that you believe, and that we just deny science and we deny all that. And the truth is, I've seen more science experiments in the last 7 years than I've seen throughout all the years before it in my education. All the way through my master's program, never was we forced to try and prove what we lived on. My very first day in the classroom, the topic when I got thrown into that job was the Coriolis effect. They gave me a globe, and I had a dry erase marker, and I'm showing them the Coriolis effect on a globe. That's just kind of the irony, you know. It's like, here I am, and I felt so wise to do this. I'm like, these kids are learning about the globe, and I'm teaching them wisdom, you know, and that's just how you feel, and you get a sense of pride. But we're supposed to be humble, and here we are getting prideful, thinking we know everything. And I think that's how you slip back and you unlearn the truth, is because you get prideful.
Josh, Michael, I just want to tell you how appreciative I am for you to invite me into your home, give me all this amazing information. I will say that it's a lot to take in. I'm going to do my research and dive into these topics because I find them fascinating.
I can tell you've got a humble spirit about you, so stay humble, because you're going to need to be humble.
I will.
The truth will always humble you and knock you off your feet and take you down different roads you didn't expect.
What would be the definitive proof of whether or not we live on a flat Earth?
What would convince me would be an experiment that I put out a few years ago, a challenge to the scientific community, which was loan me a spacesuit from any era. Let me wear it in a vacuum chamber, a university vacuum chamber, pull the switch and tell me how I survive. Meaning every object that has pressure in it that's put into a vacuum chamber will expand and expand until it explodes. A basketball, a soccer ball, a football, they all do the same thing. There's one object though that does not do this, and that is the spacesuit. The spacesuit does not exhibit any of the same properties that like a basketball would.
Right.
So tell me, and no scientist has and they never will, tell me what magical thing in the backpack of a spacesuit counteracts the vacuum of space. No one's ever done that, to where I just gave up on the challenge.
Very interesting. Are there any good flat Earth jokes?
There's exactly one flat Earth joke.
Right.
And it goes something like this. Hey, did you hear about the Flat Earth Society? They've got members all around the world.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the only one they have. It's used all the time. I see it
They
in the
gotta
comment.
come up with some good ones.
I know. You'd think there'd be more than one, but there's exactly one flat Earth joke that's out there against us.
Well, it's up to the creators to come up with some better ones.
Well, I'll leave it to science. They're boring. So here we are, back where we started, on Mukilteo Beach, and that lighthouse is one of the only working ones in the area.
Wow.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that while globalists will say that it doesn't work at all, we say the opposite, it works too well. That lighthouse will be seen from miles and miles away. So I had a great time, man. Thanks
Same.
very much for coming out.
No, thank you for having me. I learned a lot, and just a lot of information, and everything you told me made so much sense.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, safe travels across the flat Earth.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you soon.
Okay, so you can see the whole Ferris wheel. And it's
entire
spinning.
thing.
You can
Yeah,
see that.
you
That's
can see
no
it.
coincidence. And it changes colors too, which is interesting. Because that's exactly what we saw over there.
Of course. So essentially, we should only be seeing a portion of it, right?
Right, but we catch it in our camera and we see the whole thing, which is
Absolutely.
interesting. According to the globe math, you're right. We should only see just like a portion of it.
Right.
Our camera's about 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah. We're about 15 miles from that Ferris wheel now.
Yep.
So we should barely be even seeing it.
And even with our naked eye, like we can pick it up.
And there's also pretty big swells here as well.
Good point.
So that can also obstruct view, right?
Yep. If this was truly a globe, you know, there would be this bulge of water.
So the math is completely off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they still persist with this math.
They do. They just keep saying, oh, it's refraction. What you're seeing is refraction. And a lot of times they just move the goalpost.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the burden of proof doesn't really rest on us.
Right.
They're making the claim that this is, you know, a globe. It
Right.
really rests on them.
So Otto, what do you think?
I am extremely intrigued, and some of the things that you gave me were concrete, researchable, and that's something that as a researcher, I'm gonna go back and look into. That's like the meat and potatoes. But I do have one question for you. Are you part of the Flat Earth Society?
Absolutely not. The Flat Earth Society is a controlled opposition site. You Google Flat Earth and you see that disc floating in space with water falling off the edge. That's nonsense. No Flat Earther believes that. When Obama was in office, he mentioned the Flat Earth Society a half a dozen times in his speeches. What's going on there? They want people that are thinking about Flat Earth to go there. Google Flat Earth, you end up there.
Yeah, I have. And that's definitely why I wanted to ask that.
It's horrible.
So Dave, there's a rumor that you took part in a documentary that actually proved the Earth was round.
Yeah, that was complete and total nonsense. I think I was an extra in that video, but it was a total hit piece by people that hate flat Earth. There was a scene where we used a ring laser gyro and it measured 15 degrees of drift. And they're like, wow, that's interesting. We better not tell the Globers that, right? Because they'll run with it because we weren't done. We measured there is 15 degrees, but is it the Earth or is it the sky, the ether? And so we did a second experiment where we just took it at the same latitude. We went up high on a high mountain and the rotation was different. That proves, when you look at the experiment, that it's not the Earth turning. Proves. But in the movie, cut, and they left all of that out.
Can you see a future where people finally accept flat Earth as a reality?
There's a lot of people that think it'll never happen during our lifetimes, but I'm the opposite. I think I see this awakening happening. My app with the Friend Finder, I'm watching those numbers go up exponentially every day. I'm getting on bigger and bigger shows. It only takes one show to go viral, and the whole world could wake up overnight. And I think there's a massive awakening happen. And when it does, it's gonna change everything, even more than we realize.
Dave, I want to thank you for sharing your information. I'm going to go home and research it all. I'm going to jump on your app.
All I say is just keep researching. Don't believe anything, know everything.
Absolutely.
Great meeting you.
So how was the trip?
It was pretty amazing.
You part of the Flat Earth Society now?
No, I'm not part of the Flat Earth Society. You know, actually something I learned, flat earthers don't believe in the Flat Earth Society. It was probably created to make flat earthers look ridiculous. They don't believe that it's a flat disk flying through space with water falling out the sides. They actually believe that it's a terrestrial plane kind of inside of a terrarium. It's ancient cosmology.
Okay, I see. So how was it? I mean, how were the people? Were they all tinfoil hats and the whole?
They were cool. I mean, I met an engineer, a doctor, a flat earth YouTuber, a military veteran. Everyone was normal. Everyone was cool. All right, here we go. All right, I'm gonna knock that one in right there.
Nice. Good shot, man.
Yeah. It was just like being at the gun range. I was knocking them down.
What? You got to shoot guns on this?
Yes.
That's the kind of film I want to be on, man.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That's where I met Shelly, the military veteran, and she was teaching me about the Coriolis Effect and how they don't account for it in the military.
Were you able to find any holes in her tests?
No, actually, I did not. In fact, some of their tests prove that the science that they've been pushing as far as the curvature of the Earth is off. We got technologies now that can disprove all that, and it was pretty amazing.
So you're a flat earther now, or what?
Well, I will say I have to do more research.
You hear that flight? So what that is, that's the second law of thermodynamics in action.
when you accept a claim as true without scientific evidence, that becomes religion, that becomes folklore, that becomes myth.
If all humans knew that we're at the center of creation, that we have God-given rights, that there is more technology and more resources than they want us to know about, well, then they wouldn't be able to control us.
Look at the stars every night for 6 months. You should be on the other side of the sun looking at different stars. Just see if that happens.
When we see these lights in the heavens, they got us to believe we're one of those. You know, you see that, that's a planet and you're one of those. We're special. Those are just lights in the sky.
It just really hit me one day when I was going through the Bible, and it was like the Lord just basically said, who are you gonna believe?
I think there's a massive awakening happen, and when it does, it's gonna change everything, even more than we realize.